So much. Joining us now, the chairman of House Homeland Security, Mark Green. Chairman, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Liz.
What is happening right now with the hardliners and the Republican Party? Trump is effectively trying to bring back the Reagan boom, and he's putting together a solid coalition of working-class minorities for Republicans with the tax cuts. So will they solve this? Are we going to see the bill by the weekend?
I think the biggest issue, Liz, is over when the actual deficit gets fixed. I mean, this initially in the first few years adds to the deficit because we're paying for border security. We're paying to take on, to build our military up because of the threat from China. So there's some costs in the front end of it. It has massive savings on the back end of it. A lot of the guys on the hard right, the gals on the hard right, they want to see us cutting the deficit now, cutting spending now. So that's the crux of the issue. And I think, the negotiations are going on, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, so we know that tax cuts do lead to economic growth, and that could bring,
no doubt,
the whole deficit picture down. That's right. So let's talk about the dozens of common sense things in there. Personally, I've been covering taxes for 30 years. I've reported on the Laffer curve. I testified twice for Congress about the tax reform and IRS reform. What they're talking about is 6 million jobs. Everyone gets a tax break. Low-income taxpayers get a tax break. No taxes on tips and overtime, cuts taxes on Social Security, doubles the child tax credit, stops the Biden-era rule forcing everybody to, report their $600 phone app transactions to the IRS. So do the hardliners understand that when you have tax cuts, that creates, growth and brings in the revenue, bringing that deficit, picture down?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Look, Walmart doesn't offer a big sale and lower prices so that out of the goodness of their heart. They do that because they know more people will buy, and in the end, they raise more money. They make more profit. If you lower the price of paying your taxes, there'll be, more people that pay. I mean, that's just the simple truth of the matter. Overseas money comes home, all of those things, and we collect more revenue. That's the Laffer curve. And yes, the guys on the hard right do believe that. The question comes down to how much growth do you get out of how much tax cuts, and they're just arguing over that now. And I think the debate is going on as we speak.
Chairman Green, let's turn to this. Let's get your reaction to the stunning moment when President Trump confronted the president of South Africa. It was a total of 5 minutes of video showing his nation's own political leaders calling for the genocide of white South African farmers. Reports are coming in. They're being murdered and their land confiscated. Let's get your reaction to what happened. Watch.
You're taking people's land away
we have not.
From them. And those people, in many cases, are being executed. They're being executed. And they happen to be white, and most of them happen to be farmers. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that.
And then he showed the video of South African political leaders actually calling for the slaughter and genocide of white farmers. When you saw what happened, what was your take?
Look, apartheid is a horrible thing. It was a horrible thing, but the pendulum can't swing back to the other extreme. Human rights are human rights, and the leadership of South Africa need to be held accountable for what their leaders say. It's as simple as that. President Trump confronted them about it, just like he's confronting China on the Uyghurs and things like that all over the world. So Putin and Ukraine. I mean, he is having those conversations. So the president's being consistent here.
Okay, Chairman Mark Green, thanks for being with us. Now listen to
Liz.
this.